Wainui my hood. Breeding ground of champions. Champions like Tana Umanga, David Faumu, Paul Fatuira, and of course the man who paved the way, J-Lo. Good to have the bro back at the club.
Well, let's touch on your career at the Green Machine. You know, coming from Wainui, moving over to Australia and being a part of that environment.
Yeah, I remember we used to race down the bloomin' video shops around here and try to get the old NRL games in the days when they used to be on, you know. And I think Canberra were probably one of the main teams, so everyone used to follow them. So to get the opportunity to bloomin' clang heads with those sorts of players, I remember when I first got there, it was a bit of a tough time because they used to run for miles, and that was never one of my best parts of my arena, bro. But they got me there and they go, who the hell's this fat Kiwi fella? My God, what the hell's Sheensy done? Once we started playing footy, they took to me a bit better, you know, and I started getting invited to the Monday barbecues after the game and stuff like that. So I always remember that little bit of rivalry we used to have too, because obviously the Kiwis come along at that time, and a couple of the boys was in the Kiwis, and obviously we had a few Australian players in our team at the time, bud, and they used to give us a bit of, when we were coming up against each other, a little bit of flick, and we stuck together pretty well. Us Kiwi boys from New Zealand, that's for sure.
Rubes was there?
Rubes was there, and my poor mate, Kunimpongia.
Yeah.
But he was just a bloomin' outrageous man, bro, when he was playing, because he was so competitive. But he never used to weigh a hell of a lot, you know. He was the lightest front row running around the competition, Kunimpongia at those days. But I remember him, he would look down the line, and we're on our defensive line, and he'd look down at me, come on, let's get into these. I'm going, oh, okay, bro, I'm a bit tired. But yeah, okay. But he used to influence you to bloomin' keep going, you know, because he had that motor on him.
Who would have been one of the toughest guys that you played against or played with?
Bro, but I was lucky enough, well, I don't know if you call it lucky, but I played with Ian Roberts, man, and I've just seen the way he trained and prepared his body. And so if you just look on that hard, tough training physique and what he wanted to get through, bro, he was probably one of the best. Otherwise, most of the Kiwi boys were the toughest I always played against, bro, because you always wanted to get one of the boys, you know, so it was always pretty tough. Bro, you know, I don't delve too deep into it, bro, because, but, you know, it was... Seeing it was probably about 7 or 8 years ago. I didn't know it was such a political battle, do you know what I mean? And obviously I played a bit of football, so they thought there was an opportunity to have a go at me, and they made some allegations that they couldn't prove, and tried their hardest to send me to court, to send me back here as a 501 or whatever. After 10 weeks, they rang my bosses up and told them they couldn't get any evidence, and don't worry about going to court. But all I was doing, I was just negotiating better terms for some Asian immigrants that were painting, you know what I mean? And they just need to get paid the right rates. And that's all I asked their boss to do. I get in trouble for that.
Was that quite stressful with you and the whānau?
Oh, yeah, definitely, bro. You know, they took me phones and I had no communication with my family back here, but it was in the papers and it started to create a bit of noise, get on TV and stuff like that. And then my family didn't know back here what was even happening. It was tough for my mum at that time. She passed away from the time when I did get the charges to get put to court, to it actually been released, and then some defamation charges and that against them. So she never really got the opportunity to see me come back with it, you know what I mean? So it was a tough time for that. I fight the battle pretty hard on the football field, but, you know, I knew what the laws were when you were negotiating terms and stuff like that. So it was very tough for my family at that time, bro.
How was that, being given that opportunity to firstly play for the Kiwis and then obviously getting the C as well?
Oh, it's a real time, I suppose, you know. Get the news that I've been selected, and then they wanted me to do that job. Funny thing was, I think we were a little bit better off then, because I think 95, that was one of the years that we had pretty much all of our players were already playing in the NRL competition, or the ARL competition at that time. Whereas probably the years before that, they normally had to pick them from back here playing domestic footy and stuff like that. So they were all up to an acquired standard, but you didn't really have to teach them much. You just had to get together and organise when they were having the meetings and stuff like that. But to lead your country, to even just to run uphill, you know what it's like, bro. It's a pretty exciting opportunity for you and your family.
No doubt. Mum and Dad would have been pretty happy and proud of you?
Yeah, of course they were, bro. The brothers too, the wife, everyone, bud. Even my community back home where I come from, bud, they were all pretty ecstatic about me playing and getting the captaincy.
If you didn't play league, what would you have done?
Well, Shingos, I don't know, man. Played a bit of softball, man. I tried to do that professionally. was lucky enough to play for New Zealand under-19s, and we won the World Series in '85, bro.
What position in softball?
But I was a pitcher.
Rongo ana I taua kata, he mōheo pai ana au, he mahi nana kia kei te haere. Probably a sore hand for me.
Reckon could have done this professionally?
Oh, I don't know, bro. But if I put my heart and effort into it, probably, bro, you know, probably could have got stuck into it and really given it the best shot, bro.
Whereabouts did you end up going? Have a crack.
But I went to Washington, Seattle, Washington, and played over there for, I don't know, about 4 or 5 months. With the Kiwis, mate, we went to Fargo, North Dakota, and we played in the Junior World Series. But that was 1985, so it was many years ago, eh?
What about the old batting? Were you any good at that?
Bro,
Or just
yeah,
pitching?
yeah. Well, they always say pitchers aren't good batters, bro, but I think I might have been one of the exceptions to the causes, bro. Nah, but, you know, mate, I used to have to hit it pretty hard to get onto first anyway, bro.
Warmed up yet?
You want some heat? I'm warm.
You're warm
Are
now.
you ready? Are you
bring
warm?
the heat.
Are you padded?
Bring
you
the
ready?
heat. Don't worry about that. I'll try everything not to miss the bloody thing. Oh.